Hello YouTube and welcome. It's me, Tommy Funko, and I'm here with another Furrtorial, and today we're going to be going over how to draw a female body. And you're going to just need, again, simple supplies, nothing too over the top. A nice couple sheets of copy paper just to give yourself a nice smooth surface to draw on to give a little bit of texture. A nice number 2 or mechanical pencil. A rubber eraser. Don't use a pink one because it will tend to show lines that you don't want. And also, if you're on digital art platforms, your drawing tablet, display monitor, and your favorite drawing software. So guys, before we get into this, I would like to say if you like my content and want to learn more, please do me a huge solid and hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bells to find out when I release new content firsthand before anybody else. And now guys, let us begin. So the female body, how it always starts off is you're always going to have a spine. And this goes for any body, doesn't matter whether it's animal, human, it will always have a spine. And the spine kind of curves in, kind of like that. You kind of just want a nice arching line that goes across. Now we're gonna do a nice little other end to it to represent where the neck will go, and about right here, about a third down from that line, we're gonna do another line going across to represent where the shoulders are gonna lie and segment where the torso will be. Now we're going in this angle. If you notice, we're going across like that, kinda. Well, if we're going that way, we need to go opposite ways for the lower body. So we're gonna go about this way. And the reason why that we're doing this is because it gives a little bit of your character this somewhat not standard pose, but like a little bit of a dynamic looking pose, which is great. Now from here, we're gonna want to put in our shoulders. So you're gonna want to put some circles here and a circle here. And then we can draw in our neck. And then it can now equal our arm. Just like that. This is the back part of the neck, and now for the front part of the neck, we're gonna kind of bring it down. And watch this. We're gonna go and do something like that, just to round out and show the roundness of the neck. And then we can bring in our other shoulder here, just to give it some oomph. Now from here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to go ahead and start looking at our back. So our back is going to come in with this nice swooping line up to about here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of do this little shape, like a nice little line going down like that, and then bring it out this way up to here. And we now have this hourglass-like figure that everybody always raves and talks about. From here, we're gonna now just do a line going across here to indicate where the crotch will go, and another line going across here for the thighs. So when we draw in the thigh, it just comes right in naturally, just like that. Now, we're gonna go for our breast. So the breast is like this, not perfect circle, but more like a teardrop kind of shape. This rounding hook that goes up, just like that. So you kind of have to envision it as it has weight, and everything that has weight is always going to do this. It's gonna have this sense of gravity taking it. So when you think about it, you have the gravity going up and taking the breast and bringing it up on the other side here, just like that. So now it gives your appearance more of this proportion and not cartoony look. Now for the other side of the torso, we're gonna do kind of a similar step but different at the same time from this side of the body. So we already know that right here we have our line that swoops in like that to make our back and the rest of our torso pop. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna bring in this line and we're gonna bring the torso down this way. The reason for it is because the butt shouldn't show on the other side because of this angle we're in. Instead, it's gonna hide most of it, but show us more of the thigh instead, the hip and the thigh. And it should be roughly around the same length as there, because again, we're still going proportionate. And the reason I'm not doing the arms and the legs is this is not the tutorial video for arms and legs. We will get into that later on another video in the near future, and I'll explain more when we start getting into like digigrade legs and everything, and so you can have a better understanding of it. Now we have most of our body structure built. Now this is a thicker bodied character. When it comes to body structures, one thing I always see is that some people make these very, very thin women with these disproportionate breasts. And you have to understand, when it comes to your body, your breasts are going to be a certain size because of the content of fat and everything that goes into it. So when going into there, make sure you make it look appealing, but don't make it overly done. Now, if you want to add more of the back, you can by just doing so. Now it has even more of this hourglass shape, and you have a little bit of where the armpit and everything would be shown, and it gives a little bit more curvature to the body, because now when you go in there, it's going to look a lot curvier and more of that hourglass figure that some people want. Now for the belly button, we're going to kind of sink thin right here and then bring it up. Just like that. And this is around roughly where a belly button should fall. Now we're going to do a little bit more onto the crotch area, because crotch is not this perfect triangular shape. There's some curve into it. And so you're just going to swoop in a line like so, swoop it in, and then over here we're going to swoop out just a bit, just again, we go around the hip line. And again, since this is a Furrtorial and we're doing an anthropomorphic character, we're going to want to go and start going ahead and putting in our tail, which the tail should start roughly about here, and we're just going to bring it out. And then the end of the tail should be about here, and bring it out. And again, this is not going to look perfect because, again, this is my sketch phase, and normally my sketches always look very rough compared to my finished product where I ink it. But by doing so, you now have a perfect, like, beginner body. Because now, watch this. If I put some lines going across here, I can now see where the crotch point is going to be at. And then if I bring it up here, we can see where it leads into the tummy, and there you go. Now right here is your hip, and your hip is over here. And then now you can piece out where the legs are going to go from there. Your hips and your shoulders should also be roughly the same distance from each other. And what I'm talking about is not just in length, but in width. Because that's how you would proportionally build a structured body, is making sure that everything is well within its means and not too small, not too large. You want it looking that proportion. So when you do it like this, you're having this proportionate shape going in there and going in a certain way where it just looks appealing to the eye. Not saying you can't do the cartoony hourglass figures, you can't do this or that. No, far from the truth. You can if you're trying to go for that style. But if you're trying to go for a more stylistic, proportionate look, you're going to want to have that proportionate outlook on how the hips fall, how the shoulders fall, how your abdominals fall, your upper chest, your lats and your shoulders. All that means proportions, and if you're not being proportionate, you're gonna have this very wonky looking piece if you're not trying to make it look wonky. So as you can see, this rounded line shows you the distance of the hips, roughly the same distance of the shoulders. Lengthwise, we have relatively about a head or two worth of the torso. I mean, the upper portion of the torso, which is great. Your torso should roughly be about 1 to 2 heads tall. It shouldn't be more than 1 to 2 heads tall. Because then you're going to have a longer torso on shorter legs, etc. And it should be about 1.5 heads across. And these are basically your basic principles of how to draw the body. Now, this is a much more curvier body. This is actually a retake video because my last video, my recording software was recording the wrong monitor as I was going through the whole thing. This is a curvier body, and we have another body that I just did a moment ago, and I will open it up. And I'll even trace over it just to go over that. And so you guys are getting like 2 body types out of one video. A more thicker, curvier body versus a more toned, average build. And the reason why I'm doing this really quick is because so you guys can see 2 different bodies and also my mistake of what I did. So this is a more slendered body. It's not as thick as you guys can tell. The hourglass is not as profound. And all I'm going to just do is I'm going to show you guys really quick how to build this structure of a body. So we're going to go ahead and put a layer over that, and we're going to stay on my pencil. Alright, so for this body type, there's another little difference here. So again, we're going to do our same thing. We're going to bring our line across. Oh, too low. Bring our line across, or, you know, we're just going to keep hitting low. And then we're going to bring our spine down there. Just like that. And now, what we're going to end up showing here is basically, again, the shoulders. Shoulder. Our breast, again, is going to be this hooking kind of teardrop shape. Nothing too crazy to go. Just like that. And then we're going to do it here too. It's this little hooking kind of shape. And by doing this, it helps you realize that the structure is not going to be much different until we get to that hourglass figure that everybody really wants. Mind you, this was the original video piece that I just did. But, hey, it helps for me to teach you guys 2 different body types, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to look here at the midsection of the body, and we're going to just go ahead and put that there, and we're going to bring that up. Just like that. So the reason why is the back is going to be a little bit more profound on thinner bodies because the breast shouldn't be as so big because there's less body fat content. Now, I'm not saying that's not impossible, but majority of women, it wouldn't be that big. Then we're going to bring it down. So kind of like before, now here we go. We're going to bring in our arm a little bit. Bring in our shoulder down. Just going to cut that off. And then we're going to bring our neckline up here. And there's the back of our neck, front of our neck. Bring it this way and bring it around. Now, for this thinner body, you're also going to bring in the stomach this way a little bit. And we're going to go out that way. So as you guys can see, it's already looking 1,000 times thinner than our last body. So accommodate as such for your thighs. So our thigh will start about here, and it's going to go down about right there. And remember how I did with the crotch line, it's this swooping line that comes across like that. Now, again, just like before, the butt should not show. Instead, you're going to be focused more on the thigh on this part, and we're going to just bring it up. Go right there. And then we have that line already going for the other side of the crotch. And then your belly button should fall roughly about here. Just like that. And now you have two different types of bodies to work with. You have a thinner, and then you have a thicker body. And like I said before, this was meant for the original video. My computer decided, well, actually more my OBS software decided, hey, we're going to record, but not the thing that was set to. We decided to reset your monitor 2 as monitor 3, and I was just like, the time wasted. But anyhow, it happens. And then, again, we're going to do a nice little tail. And this time we might just curve it out a different direction. The tail should not be so shown. It's going to look kind of cut in. So just make sure when you go about it, it's going to be the same way. So I hope these videos do help you guys, and please remember to hit that subscribe, like button, and that nice notification bell. And if you want to see something else to learn off of, don't be afraid to do me a huge solid and hit that hit the comment down below and tell me what you want to see next. Do you guys want to learn about arms, hands? Do you guys want to see, I don't know, the male body structure? Anything. We will do it, and that's my job as a artist, to help you guys out get into that kind of understanding to really make your art shine. Now, I'm not saying this is the way of how you should do it. This is far from it. There's artists that have their own methods, but this is one way of doing it. Now, again, guys, don't forget, your shoulders and your hips always need to be roughly the same distance from each other. So again, we bring this little sloped line. We're looking at our shoulders and we look at our hips. It's roughly about the same. So you have a proportionate body. Now, does that mean that, you know, there's not women with broader shoulders that are out more and the hips are in more? No, that's not it either. What I'm saying is, make sure when you're doing this stuff to always be proportionate. So guys, I hope my video helps you guys out, and I hope, you know, you guys are good to go to start, you know, playing around and learning the body a little further and trying to go into working on a female piece. My next video will be up again probably around the same time next week, so tune in for next time, and have a creative and wonderful day.